The definition of clicker conditioning is also the same as operant conditioning, where we give meaning to the sound of the clicker through a reward. You are associating the stimulus with a reward. I began to train Ren with the clicker, where I would click the clicker and immediately offer a reward without asking any other behavior or command of her. In order to train her, clicker, reward. Clicker, reward. Clicker, reward. Clicker, reward. Free shaping or capturing is the use of small steps in order to work towards a goal behavior. I work towards free shaping a calmness behavior. I did this by waiting until Ren exhibited a calm behavior and immediately rewarded with no clicker and no command. Partial reinforcement is when the behavior is reinforced or rewarded at certain time intervals or ratio of time. Instead of reinforcing the behavior by rewarding every time the behavior is performed correctly, you reward on a scheduled ratio, such as every third correct time the behavior is exhibited. The purpose of this is to make the behavior more resilient to extinction. I used partial reinforcement by asking Ren to sit, but only rewarding every third time. Come here. Sit. Come here. Sit. Sit. Targeting is training your pet to touch a specific item, whether it's their nose to your hand, or their paw to your hand, or their paw to a separate object. I chose to teach Ren to touch her nose to my finger. I did this by touching my finger to her nose repeatedly and then rewarding to the point where she would seek out my finger and touch it with her nose for a reward. So, you take my finger, touch her nose, click, reward. Touch, click, reward. Now I'm gonna see if she will reach her nose up to touch my finger, which I will then reward. Extinction is the weakening of a behavior through non-reinforcement or ignoring the behavior. Desensitizing and operant classic conditioning focuses on replacing a behavior. Successfully completing operant counter conditioning results in the stressor becoming the cue for the new response. The behavior I chose to extinct was Ren jumping on me. I chose to do this by ignoring her, turning my back to her when she would jump on me, neither rewarding nor punishing the behavior. And then I chose to choose another behavior to replace the jumping with, which was sit. So now, rewarding her when she comes up to me and sits, and then ignoring when she jumps on me. And I'm choosing to just explain this behavior rather than excite her to where she will jump on me just to ignore her. Generalizing is teaching your dog to ask her to perform a behavior regardless of the environment or the situation. You can help generalize a behavior by asking for the behavior in multiple different places, whether it's outside or inside, in a crowded area, or in your bedroom. In order to show generalization, I am now outside my house. Come here, bud. Sit. Sit. Since we are in a new environment, she was a little slow to respond, and she needed a second time asking for the command before she performed the behavior that I asked of her. Come here, Bryn. Sit. That was better. And she's off and running. Desensitizing is exposing the subject, or my dog Bryn, to a low-level trigger that evokes the unwanted response in certain scenarios. We then decrease the distance and the amount of stimulus gradually to where Ren can control the situation and control her response to it. Classic counter conditioning is addressing the emotion to change the wanted behavior. I focused on desensitizing Ren to the front door. When people would walk, even park their car and walk up to the door, she would bark and jump on the windows and jump on the door. So we worked really hard to desensitize her to this. We started with me standing outside the door and just her sitting by the front door and treat and reward, or clicker and reward, clicker and reward, clicker and reward. We slowly worked up to somebody opening the door, and I was still clicker and reward, clicker and reward. And then we worked on somebody knocking on the door, and she would still sit and reward as the person walked through the house. We are still working on this, but we have made excellent strides. I am choosing to record myself as I walk through the front door, and Ren should be sitting on the other side and not jumping on me. So we will see how that goes. Sit. And there she is.